Hello and welcome to the show. This is Everything Under the Sun. My name is Ty. I am here with a very special guest, an intuitive healer, Kambo Practitioner, and entrepreneurial wellness center that's up and coming that I'm very excited to speak more about. And I'm here with Michael today. Michael, thanks you for being here.
Hello, I'm blessed to be here and share my life experiences today.
Awesome. So, I guess just to start off, like when you told me that you were a Kambo practitioner, I was I didn't really exactly know what that was. So I guess what exactly does that entail, like that practice and the journey that you take people on?
Kambo is very powerful substance, chemical compound, we could say. And it's basically it's a frog poison. It comes from South America, from Peru and Brazil. And she got that poison as a protectant on her back, so no one touched her in the jungle. She's very protected by that. So it's a very old type of medicine, I would say, couple thousand years.
Wow. And
natives, they're using it for curing all the sicknesses, brain diseases, whatever's going wrongly in our bodies. It could be healed by that substance. How they doing it? They calling the frog in the night, usually by sound, and the frog's coming out of a jungle, and they catch them. They scrape the poison or the medicine from her back. They're gonna dry it, and then they're gonna apply it on a stick, and then they're reusing it with the people, kind of like mixing it with the either way spit or water, and applying it on your body, and you going on that journey. How I come together with this medicine was interesting story. I'm coming from the country in Europe, East Europe, and I came to United States exactly 23 years, 2 days ago.
Oh, wow.
So I got a little celebration here, I would say. And I had a very hard childhood, I would say, back there. That's what probably brought me out of there around age 20, 22 maybe. I had that voice in my head, and it started telling me, you need to get out of here. This is not where you're gonna be living forever. Right. So I did. I came to States. I was ready to go to Australia with my friend, but it didn't happen. So I had a problem since I was a kid with addictions, with alcohol. I would say maybe age 12, 13, I started drinking a little bit. Then it just speeded up with other substances. We didn't have access back there to many things there because it was different regime, different type of government. Our borders were closed, and it changed when I was 15. Then suddenly drugs appeared in society more. It wasn't much visible like today over here or even now there. Everything was kind of like kept under the information fog. Although there was drugs, of course, pills, alcohol, stuff like that. But to get access to other things, that was kind of a problem. So after I relocated to United States, I just discovered other substances, and back there I didn't know why I'm doing it or that I'm actually feeling better on it. So it took several years for me to realize, okay, I got a problem, I have to do something, I have to change things. Instead of lying to yourself, I got it under control, I can switch whenever I want. That wasn't the truth. So my first introduction was actually ayahuasca, probably 2012 maybe, which I knew about that substance a couple of years already, but I didn't have any access to it. And then my friend kind of like mentioned that in Chicago, where I was living at the time, that he's got access to a group of people, and they were practicing ayahuasca there. So that was my first thing, kind of try.
Like facilitating a ceremony?
Like facilitating ceremony. There's a beautiful, she's a beautiful shaman girl in Chicago, and she was trained in I believe Peru. So that's where I started my healing journey, I would say, back there. And continuously, I got to the point where it was helping me, but I was still relapsing and going back to my addiction. Because, of course, you're getting the knowledge through medicine, but you're not listening completely or not taking that much advices. I would say to get healed or to get better, you need to change many things in your life. And it's not a problem, right away. So it's a slow move. And it got me to the point where I started discovering different type of medicines, and one of that was Kambo.
Was that through your ayahuasca circle, or just
no? That was one of the person who was attending ayahuasca. She was practicing a Kambo, and I already knew at that time all kind of substances, what's there. If it's iboga, if it's mushrooms, if it's the DMT or 5-MeO-DMT and a couple others. But the Kambo kind of they saying when you get dream with the frog, or you see frog, you start seeing frogs around you, that's the call for you. Mm-hmm. And I got experience with many of my clients. They really had the dreams even about me and the frog.
Oh, wow.
And they approached towards me and did ceremony with me. So I remember my first ceremony with that person. It was very profound experience for me. Very strong, I had visions, even if it's been said it's not psychedelic type of medicine, so you shouldn't see things, but I did apparently. There was actually a lizard in a hot tub, empty hot tub, trying to get out the tub, and it couldn't because it's slippery. And it's been saying to me, that's you're trying to get out of it, but you don't know how, so we're gonna help you with that. I broke my addiction that day on cocaine.
Wow.
I would say I was really a heavy user on the end. I remember a week doing that stuff, probably ounce of cocaine, which is a lot.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I didn't die back there, which was the intention actually, to kill yourself because the pain and trauma. So it brought me to the healing way or path. And some years back, I started practicing or helping people with the same problems. Kind of like got the call.
Right.
You should do that. You know how you were doing it actually before. Maybe other soul experiences. I don't know, but yeah, it felt like I'm in that environment. I'm feeling good, and I can see things in people and point and really help them. So yeah, that was the start with this beautiful medicine.
That's incredible. You mentioned how this was that vision was kind of like a sign for you. I guess there are so many things where it's there are profound moments in our lives that move us so much, and it's not something that's outside of our choice. It's just the realization of something more, something else that kind of takes over that passion that we have, or that addiction to whatever it is, because we have addictions to so many things. There are addictions to technology, addictions to substances, or addictions to so many things, and it's hard for some people to get away from those. I think that there's addiction to beliefs as well, beliefs of not being good enough, not being able to succeed, not being able to change or even move outside of your environment. So I guess that experience, what was that for you that was so profound that it moved you to completely stop taking substances and start to move towards helping other people?
I'm not sure if that was the breaking point for the beliefs, because I was trying that many years already with I would say 6 years, maybe 5 years with the ayahuasca.
Right.
And I've been shown this is the problem and you need to do this or you need to change that. But with my understanding, the spirit kind of offering you might do that or you might not. It's up to you. While with the Kambo, it felt kind of like shortcut. Like once you got it on your skin, and it's going to your through the vein system to your blood, you cannot change it or reverse it or just said like, I don't want to deal with that. I'm away. It getting to the core. It getting to the point. Like, okay, we're gonna help you. So basically, it's rebooting your brain as well, not just detoxifying your body. But some of my clients, of course, they passing out for a couple seconds, and I understand that's the sign. Like, we need to shut you down for a moment, and maybe we need to break that belief system of yours as well. So it might be together. I would say. I stopped after the first dose, which was 7 dots, which is a lot for the first time. I'm not giving it to my clients, of course. No, it's too strong, I would say. But for me, my body was resistant, I would say. So it really kind of like changed my perspective and things. But it was just the first step, I would say, on a way to get better, get out of it. And as you said, we got many addictions, and I'm very good example. I can be addicted on anything, So as I mentioned, right now I'm trying to break the coffee addiction, and I think I developed even the rapé, which is another medicine, the snuff tobacco. So I'm 2 days trying not to take anything and sleep better. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, I mean, with the trauma I went through, I would say it's not surprise, because there was many things it happened to me as a kid, and it was brutal. So maybe that's why I'm so that deep in that addiction process or cycle, and it gets me many years to get out of it. Actually, it takes, but I think I'm on a good path right now. So yeah.
We were speaking just a few minutes ago before we started recording, just about how adversity seems to be a catalyst for such big change in our lives. How many times a bad situation can lead us somewhere really great, and we maybe don't realize that in the time that it's all the chaos is surrounding us. Has this been your experience as far as just like what you've gone through, how you came to the United States, and just your journey since then?
Yeah, I think the catalyst for me to realize like I got the problem and I need to change something, and I think it was actually under the cocaine influence back there, where after a whole week of doing it, I think it was the 6th day, and suddenly from nowhere I just realized, or I started thinking, maybe I got a problem with that addiction. Maybe I need to do something about that. Maybe I'm just lying yourself many years. I think it was like 13 years already, constantly alcohol, drug abuse, cocaine abuse. But, and it was funny because shortly after the realization, I really got the problem, to myself. I start seeing some strange things under my ceiling in the house I was living. And it looked to me kind of like small 3 blue drones with the scanners flying under the ceiling and scanning me. I got pretty much scared about that, and within probably hour I felt presence about someone peeking through the window from outside, which I saw kind of reddish, a person with it looks like night goggle visions, peeking through blinds, and I felt really scared at the moment. I felt some type of energy, and I felt already been watched under cocaine use many months probably. They saying it's hallucinations, or you developing other brain disease already. I wasn't sure about it. I was sure I really see something, and really something is there, and it was repeating. So I think that was the moment when I realized like I have to change something. I started practicing the ayahuasca first time in my life, and I had similar visions after first dose right away, which I didn't expect, and everything what's include that process. Yeah, I would say everything what I've been through as a kid, and coming here to this country, it felt like I really choose that path. Like I have to go through it, and maybe on the end, right now, what I'm planning to open the space here, the wellness, kind of help people with other problems. Maybe that's what I choose, and maybe I really signed for these contracts. Like, oh, you have to try this. You need to be aware. You need to be aware about narcissism, about other things in society, about yourself, about others. You have to study that on your skin, I would say. That's how I felt after.
And I guess, I mean, I know that like there are a lot of people that have experienced just ayahuasca or DMT or mushrooms, psilocybin, other type of psychedelic substances that have helped them to shift so radically in their life and even change location where they live, change habits. And I'm hearing that maybe that was like a big part for you as well.
That was probably the biggest one, because the urge to relocate out of Chicago, where I was doing business in transportation, delivery foods, semi-truck driving, that was one of the things which it was taking me down, that amount of stress and that type of life, dealing with people, dealing with all kind of problems. And I think that was the first messages on ayahuasca journey. Get rid of it. You don't need that. Sell the equipment. Let the people go. This is not your path. And it took me really 10 years to do that. I finally sold the company recently. Last equipment. But I couldn't. I was trying to relocate over here because I was visiting Ireland many years already. And I didn't know how. I didn't know how to change the life. That was one of the worst things, I would say, or hardest. For some people, it's easy. Just, give up the work, sell the car, pack your stuff and move. But it wasn't just that. It was the whole social circle of your friends, the hobbies you're doing there, kind of like. And I already did that, which is the funniest part. I already did that when I was 22. I sold my car, gave up on my apartment, my work, my friends, and I just bought a ticket and flew to States. But after years, it's getting, I would say, harder for you. You're 40, you got a kid, you got a family, you got people around you, and the urge like cut everything out and start all over, it's harder. So yeah, it took me some years finally, and I've been trying relocate to Maui already twice, back in 21 and last year. I don't think if I was ready, because Ireland always kicked me back, like, you know what, come back later, you have to like done or close other things there, and then maybe we're gonna let you stay here. Which I think it's happening now, so we'll see.
When I moved to Maui, that was a big thing that I was told. Like, if Maui wants you here, then you'll stay here, and like there will be support coming for you to stay here. Mm-hmm. And if there are other things that need to be done like elsewhere, because I say like out in the world, because Maui seems to be like really this space where every time I'm driving, I feel like I'm in a dream. I feel like I'm still at awe, and I'm not sure if that goes away after a certain amount of years. It's almost 2 years now, and I'm still driving and still in awe about like where I'm at. And I realize that there is some energy here, and it brings people here, and it is a very healing space, I think. But I think it's also like if we allow it to be that space for us.
Yeah.
And as I'm starting to experience that, I'm starting to come across a lot of people who have had so many different journeys in life that have led them here, have led them to healing and understanding, and in a way that like we're on the same field as far as just like what we believe, what our ideas and our thoughts are. And that was always something that amazed me, because coming from different walks of life and then coming to this understanding of something more being present, I think that's something significant, where it's like we don't really see it because it's not tangible in the world that we're used to seeing it. But with so many people having different experiences yet coming to the same conclusions, there has to be some validity to it. There has to be some truth to it. And I think that that's what validated me on my journey, because I did start with what I'd say the most significant time, because I think as we get to a certain point, we realize our whole life has been this journey, this spiritual journey. But the catalyst for me was in 2012. It was March 2012. I took some psilocybin. It was like 3.5 grams of mushrooms, and had this experience that was so profound that it changed my insights on everything. And I haven't even spoken about this in my podcast, and it's been almost 3 years of having this podcast. But it was a profound experience where I saw myself in my body, and it's almost like I just kept rising up higher and higher, looking at myself and looking at the house that I was in, and then the overpass that was outside, and seeing all the surroundings, and then just out into this spaciousness of just being. It wasn't space, it was just like vastness. And I felt like a hand on my head, and it said, "You can't unknow what you know." And it wasn't in words, it was like just the vibration of, but that's what it translated to: you can't unknow what you know. And after coming out of that, it was the vastness of the connection between you and I, the vastness of the connection between all things. And it didn't translate well when I tried to, speak to it with friends and family members, and really speak about what this meant. And it's such a profound experience that we want other people to know about it. We want other people to experience that. And I'm sure that's why you've become a practitioner, to help other people to go through that journey, facilitate them on that journey. And I guess, how's that been for you? I guess knowing what you know, feeling what you feel, believing what you believe, and knowing the healing that it can do, and how has that impacted like your journey and your approach with working with individuals?
Yeah, I got a similar experiences, not as you described, but many similar or others. It completely restructured my beliefs, the journeys, whatever it was, iboga or psilocybin or DMT. I was practicing DMT sometime, but it made me to realize like my belief system is completely, I need to redone it. It's false actually, what I was taught as a kid and as a young. As you said, I get urged to help people, to see them my perspective. I'm very strong, sensitive empath. They were calling it. I didn't know even the name.
Right.
A couple of years back, like what is it? Empath. So what? But after realizing or studying or having my experiences, like yeah, that's me. I feel through eyes. People's souls. I feel pretty much everything. I can be around much people, big crowds. I have to kind of like clean whatever's around me. So yeah, this is the call I got, to help people who struggle, who doesn't know, who are lost, who still cannot find themselves. It's been said that we really signed for it, many of us, to come to this planet, reality, and help with the shift, what's undoubtedly happening right now, or the changes, which wasn't possible some years back. So with me, I would say I'm glad actually I'm on that path, even if it's hard. And for me, it's always about losing everything, actually, not just my friends, but even the money, with my friends. I was always helping. Funny thing is, I'm gonna mention Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. On a DMT trips, I was explained some years back. I even saw it on ayahuasca back in 2012, maybe 2013. The logo. I didn't get involved at the time because I wasn't ready. But later on, again, I was urged. Yeah, you have to. This is the good thing. Just the Bitcoin code. Mm-hmm. Just study that, like don't pay attention to anything else, It's been sent to the planet for some reason. I listened, I did it, got some money in it. It made me, I would say, rich. And then I lost again, last year, the crypto crashes and stuff. But I felt the presence of these entities and things we don't see and we don't feel. And so I believe there's a more to that above us, and we are guided, and we are where we are supposed to be. I guess, you know, all of us. It might be hard journey for some of us. It might continue probably in the next life cycle, maybe. I don't know. We'll see about that. I've been a couple times on the other side, I would say, and I believe it's there. And I saw things. I felt some things. I talked to some entities. So I think it's bigger than we even can realize. You know, the whole thing. Sometimes I'm calling it like the universe, like big computer, you know, and we are in it, kind of like circling. Yeah, I really love helping people and kind of like giving them what I know, and not every time it's with the many thanks from the people. I learned my lessons, like with the approach you can offer to one who's not ready. They need to come to you. So I changed that too. Many people I was taking to ayahuasca when I discovered that, like, you guys, you need to try it. This is like something, you know. Same with other medicines, but now I'm kind of like just waiting for the universe to send me the right people, the ones who was ready for take the journey and try something else. And I believe, yeah, there's many people like me, probably, you know. Now we can connect through internet. We can go to Peru, we can go to Brazil, whatever. It's getting more, I would say, bigger. But for some reason, not everyone of the healers, I would say, has the same approach. I met many of them, and I'd say a lot of people doesn't have the clean intentions in their hearts. I met a lot of people which I didn't see before, and after some time, it just opened it, like they were pretending, and the intentions weren't, you know, clean, and there was more the money aspect, or the power, kind of like the narcissistic types, healers, or I mean, it's everywhere, you know. When that opened it for me, and I see like, a government, oh, of course, you know, these people, oh, car dealerships, oh, of course, you know, these people, like, it's everywhere actually. So the journey is like to recognize that, and wish them the healing too. They are on their own journey, I would say. It's gonna take them probably more than to us, but yeah, I mean, I really love doing what I'm doing right now, or what I'm trying to do. I think the help from others for no charge, it's probably the best. What I kind of realized, you know, last year is like, if you want to help to someone, you should do it for free, and not to be expecting any payment or any. It's up to them, you know, if they want to give to you or not. So I changed even the structure, how I'm taking money or donation only. You know, I go by donation now, and it's. I think sometimes I'm getting even more, you know, but really, I was always telling spirits, help me a little bit financially, you know, out of struggle, and I'm gonna be doing it for free for people. You know, I'm enjoying it, so I don't have to charge.
I think that's really incredible, and there's so many layers to that I mean, also things that like I've been thinking about, because when I started this podcast, it was out of the desire to share that experience again. Like, I had gone through that profound experience in 2012, and then experiences afterwards, but I went into darkness. I kind of went through a deep depression. I was drinking a lot, using substances, all types of things, and I forgot myself. I forgot, like, that there was just more that I could kind of lean onto, and it's like the presence of it was always there, and that's why I think it caused so much distress in my life, because it's like I knew there was like something more. Like, I knew I didn't have to worry about all the things that were coming in my life, yet I was still worrying about it. There was still the weight of it that was there, and it was really hard to kind of move past that. And it wasn't until like I allowed myself to be exactly where I was that it brought me to the realization that, you know, what I want to do, like what I choose to do, like you were saying, where it's like ayahuasca was telling you like, you can do this or you can do that. The choice became clear to me. It was like, oh, I'm the one that's choosing this. And when that became clear, it was like, okay, wow, I can choose to do something that brings me joy. So I started this podcast, and it was like to kind of elicit that, all these struggles that we go through, all these obstacles, external expectations that are put on us that we feel as though we're obliged to, money, the need to pay certain things or certain obligations that we feel so entrapped by that it keeps us from exploring the truth of our nature or the truth of our desires. And that's something so big for me to move past. I mean, there's so many listening to this podcast that are dealing with, you know, financial situations, dealing with family situations, relationship issues. And these are things that are so big that it can keep us blinded towards our true passion and even moving towards those things. And I think that's something really important to speak about, just because when we realize that each of our journeys lead us different places, we can allow ourselves not to compare ourselves to other people, and we can live our own journeys and walk our own path and realize that moving towards the things that feel good for us, the things that are meaningful for us, are going to lead us to the right place. And I have met also people that do meditative practices, ayahuasca, various ceremonies that are supposed to help people to move on the spiritual journey. But then there's also that financial aspect where they're wanting like $200-300 for the ceremony to take place, when it's meant to be, you know, something that shares the truth of, you know, our being, the truth of our oneness, and the money factor seems to be playing a big role. But I think that's just another barrier, another belief that so many of us have to move past, where it's like the belief that we have to work really hard for the money that we earn. And just like you were saying, where it's like you believe that you're getting more just from asking for donations rather than a set charge. I believe that when people are giving money or giving energy, because money is just energy, when people exchange that energy willingly, then it turns out to be a lot more abundant. And it comes from a better place where you can accept that and say, thank you so much, and I appreciate you. And I don't know, I love that was the journey that led for you. And again, when I started this podcast, my intention was to kind of just spread that and speak to people about these challenges. But then the money aspect came in again, and I started realizing, I was like, oh, there are ways I can monetize this podcast. And there are all these other things that the podcasting platform that I have was suggesting to monetize, and it just didn't feel right to me. So I've even spoken this podcast. I was like, I'm never going to monetize this. I'm never going to have ads or anything like that. And that's something that's like, this is something really, really incredible, but I'd rather promote people that are doing incredible things to help people on their journey. So with that, I'm very thankful for you to be here. And I guess I want to speak more about this vision for the facility that you want to start developing, and how that incorporates to just what you're doing now and versus like what you're planning to do for other people down the line.
Yeah. Well, my vision came, I didn't expect that actually. I've been involved with or I met a girlfriend my last stay here on the island. She got me introduced to someone from California who was selling apparently these sensory deprivation floating pods.
Oh, yeah.
I remember when I first visited one of the facilities in Chicago, and I started floating. I said to myself, this is interesting. I had profound experience with a little bit of microdose of mushrooms and floating in that cocoon in the dark in a salt. And I said to myself, that would be interesting business to do for people, kind of run. And that was it. So last year, by coincidence, maybe not, I bought these 3 tanks and I shipped them over here to Maui. I was thinking, okay, let's open something, let's work on it. Then my assets crashed during the crypto banks. You know, all the banks just went underwater. So I had to go back to Chicago. Was driving truck again for a couple months. So that was one of the, I would say, island kick to the butt. You have to go back and you cannot run, you know, simultaneously a couple businesses or do this. You have to shut it, you have to close it, you know. That's what I did. So I sold it and I really decided I want to do it. I want to open the space here. I got the visions, how to do it, what should be there, and how to do even the approach towards the clients or people visiting. I was in Chicago a couple months ago. I visited one of the places there in downtown. It was kind of nicely designed. It was in a basement in downtown. So I went there, but I didn't enjoy the experience. The water wasn't clean in the pots, and there was a noise which compromising everything. If you want to float in darkness and quiet, you should be like totally quiet, right? So you could hear door slamming or people talking. With the earplugs you shouldn't, but I didn't wear them for the specific reason, because I experienced like even you could hear the engine on the pots running. So that's kind of, that's spoiling the I would say the experience. So I want to do like really like professional sounded proof place, like without any planes coming or trucks. I think it should be on a rubber pads, kind of like insulated from bottom to. So this is one of the thing I want to do. I'd like to put a ice bath, cold plunge top there too as well. I'd like to put a hyperbaric chamber on the oxygen therapy. I know there's a couple of them on the island, but what I saw like in hospital, the environment, what I see on the pictures, how it looks like, and the stuff and the design, for me it's creepy. All the hospitals were always creepy. I was very sick as a kid, and I was staying many days in the hospital, and I was very traumatized from that experience. Later I understood like the whole Western type of medicine, it's not that much for healing, but many times it's actually keeping you sick, kind of like hooked up on medicine. We know that now, and other aspects to it. So with that approach, I'd like to do kind of like nicer design of the place, nature paints maybe. I got a couple ideas. I already met someone on the beach who's a painter, artist. So we're working on a design right now, how it should be. So I'm in the need of looking for space right now, which happening. I don't know how long it's gonna take. It's gonna be a longer project, maybe a couple of months, maybe more. But I wanna push it, and I wanna pull it through and do it for people. I believe with a little bit of psychedelics, microdosing mushrooms, the experience might be more profound. And I know a lot of people doesn't want to try that. They are not called. They are scared of have that experience, as you mentioned, or myself, getting out of your body, purge, 2 hours there, it's unpleasant, of course. But I think with that approach, even the microdosing only, or kind of to be around, it could be similar experience for them, and they can maybe get to the other side as well and see things, hear things, change things. You have to change your approach towards your body and your mind. You shouldn't relate anymore on some doctors or the whole scene of these mega corporations, like they promising you something which can be promised. I mean, there's no magic pills for whatever disease. Like this is lie. You need to change your life. You need to change your food habits, your exercise. You need to start with yourself. You need to stop lying yourself first.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is gonna help me. Like, oh, are you sure? No, it's not. We can witness it like openly now, of course. So yeah, I think it might be a good idea to really open place like that and try to help people with problems, whatever they got.
Yeah, I believe that there's definitely a need for people to be, I guess, have more strength in their ability to heal, have more strength in their ability to take control of their own health. Because again, it's just like some of those things that we do, we place expectation even of ourselves on other people. So it's like doctor is going to help me, this practitioner is going to help me. And of course, even I studied therapy, got my master's in counseling psychology, and working with clients, I would get gratitude. They would thank me for helping them. But at the end of the day, it's like, I recognize that I'm not the one that's doing the work. It's like, I can say everything that I want to say,
Yes.
but it's up to you to make that change. It's up to you to make that shift. And I think that's the truth for everyone in all aspects of life, whether it's healing mentally or healing physically. It's putting our own hands into it and saying, what does my body tell me? Because, sometimes a diet works for some people, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes a certain plant medicine works for some people and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes even pharmaceutical medicines work for some people because that's just where they are. And that's why I'll never tell someone to not take pharmaceuticals, because of the fact that it's just like, if you are in that place where it's like, the only way I see healing is through this modality, then that's the only way that you're going to get healing, because it's your belief. But when we start believing that there are other ways I can get healing, there are ways that I can change the way that I'm living my life, the things that I'm doing in my life, the things I'm incorporating in my life, and that will facilitate the change that I want to see. When that mindset, when that belief starts to overpower, then I think that's when those other medicines, those other dependencies can start being let go, because we're starting to realize the strength of our own being, the strength of our own ability to move our lives in the way that we want it to. It's always a choice that we have to make, but a lot of our choices are based on our beliefs. And most of our beliefs are things that are told to us from outside of us. So it's really, I think this whole journey that we all go on is a journey inward. It's a journey to find ourselves in that strength within. And just as you as a practitioner, facilitator of these things, I think that maybe you even recognize that it's that person's journey that they're going through, and it's up to them to make the changes after they step out of that facilitation that you're embarking them on. And I don't know, I find that that's probably one of the biggest parts in healing, because I don't think we can really heal and find ourselves and discover what we truly want unless we take that power back and start making the moves for ourselves. And whether that's moving from one place to another, or leaving relationships that seem to be holding us back, or situations that seem to be holding us back. And that can be really hard. But again, it's recognizing that inner strength that we have within ourselves that helps us to take that next leap of faith, because sometimes we don't know if we're going to land or if we're going to fall. But it's like, I'm so tired of the situation that I'm in, the circle that I'm kind of going in, that I'm okay with taking this leap of faith, and wherever it lands me, it'll feel better than just the monotony of what I've been going through. And I think that all of us have to get to that point before we realize it's like something has to change. And I think that that's something that's nonstop, no matter how far we go on the spiritual journey. I mean, I recognize that there's so many understandings that I've had in the past few years. I mean, in the past year, that has changed me so radically. And even in that, I realize I'm like, the next 2-3 years, I can only imagine the changes that'll go, because there are beliefs that are still, circulating that aren't helpful. There's still thoughts that are circulating that aren't helpful, and letting those go, it's a process. It can take, radical change. I believe anything is possible, and I believe that radical change can happen, but allowing ourselves the time and the space and the gradual shift is something that's so important. And I know that a lot of times we want a quick pill to fix everything. We want a quick fix for so many things, and it's not always like that.
Yeah. I think a lot of us took the pill many times in belief, like, okay, it's gonna help, it's gonna do the shortcut, but it's not the truth, and the realization of that, it's important as well. And when you mentioned about the idea, I'm the one who can help you, I realized that right away with my first client, and she got better after 3 doses of Kambo. She was a meth user, she was a alcoholic, and she kind of put my name in her friends. Oh, he can help you, he's a shaman or whatever. And I was like, no, I'm not. I'm just sitter. I'm just gonna be sitting with you. You need to do the job. I cannot help you. I'm sorry. I'm not. I don't have any magic power in me. You need to do it. I'm gonna administer something to you, and it's gonna stop your thought process, whatever you got going on. But it's up to you to do the job. I'm just randomly passing by, and that's it. So that's the approach, I would say. And you can see like how many people around actually offering you that I'm the one who can help you. You need to pay me,
Right.
a lot of money. I'm always surprised how many these cult leaders or when I see, for example, Joe Osteen, one of the person from, I think she's from Dallas, a Christian something, bought a whole stadium. But when I see him, the face, snake, kind of like devil. It's like, how can someone believe what he's saying, and pay him whatever couple $1,000 for a seat just to listen 2 hours that talk, I'm like, it amazed me. But I was in that spell too. Didn't see many things around others, so I cannot blame anyone. Everyone has the journey need to discover. It's like, oh, this is lies. I shouldn't believe it. I shouldn't listen. I should rely on myself. I should get the power back towards me. Because I got the power. I always had that power. It was just the lie I was told, like you don't have, you can't do much, just listen, don't do much. Yeah, I remember that clearly from as I was a kid, back in communism, back in Czechoslovakia. It's like always the telling, like, don't do anything much or they're gonna spot you. You need to be in shadow, and if they need you for something, they're gonna pick you up. So just be quiet. Don't say anything, just pretend almost not to be there. You could see it in the school. We were shy to say something, on a quest for question from teacher. It was totally different approach here. Suddenly it's like, why not? Even if it's nonsense or whatever, you're a kid, you're trying to say something and that doesn't matter, but the approach kind of was like, just don't do anything much, and you nobody, you nothing. That was the message from the system. And now it's kind of like they're trying to pull it back, what I see in this country, or maybe not around, but I noticed that 2 years after I came to States, it made me realize, like, they're doing similar thing we had back there. It has different clothes,
Right.
but under that's the same thing, and it just exploded last 3 years with the, you cannot travel, you don't have, you cannot do this, you cannot do that, you need to listen, you need to be quiet, you need to take that medicine, like, do what we're telling you. And it's like, no, not anymore, like always, how about no?
Yeah.
You can say clearly no, you need to find the strength inside of you. It's like, no, I don't want to do it. It doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I think that's something so big. And I'd mentioned maybe once or twice in this podcast that, we were speaking about choices. And it's like, I believe that there's a choice that we have to make. And it's like one of two choices, fear or love. And love is moving towards our passion, moving towards what feels right for us. And maybe we have to break down some barriers. Maybe we have to let go of some fears. Maybe it takes some time to do that, but you're still choosing that. But when we choose fear, it's really what we're being told, like what you were saying with, don't do this, don't do that. But it was always, people will die. You may get sick and you may become like in the hospital on a ventilator. So a lot of times when and I've mentioned this a few times, when there are people that will tell you certain things, but they say it because, like, if you don't do this, then you'll have this terrible thing happen to you. When people are feeding you information to coerce you in that kind of way, that's like a red flag. That's a huge red flag, because in no way does this journey need to be something that is fearful for us. Like, we shouldn't have to try to avoid something in order to experience the joy of life. And I think when other people say, like, you won't find happiness, you won't find joy or anything like that unless you do a certain thing, or, you'll lose all your friendships and all these other things, unless you do this thing. And I think that moves so many people, because people, we're all connected. And with that connection, it's no wonder why people say humans are social beings, because it's like we love connecting with each other. We love experiencing the joy of connecting with one another. And yet fear has created boundaries and borders and countries that are divisive and people pointing missiles at each other, but it's all fear-based.
It is.
And then you go to, like, the people on the streets in those countries, and none of them want that. but they're with or behind the political leaders because they're political leaders saying, if you don't listen to me, if you don't do this, if you don't vote for me, then this is going to happen. And it makes everyone divisive. I mean, even here in the United States, Democrats, Republicans, it's like we're neighbors with one another. We're like actually neighbors with one another, and yet we're fighting each other on political beliefs when all of us just want happiness. All of us want to understand ourselves more. All of us want love and connection, and that's what we all want. And when people are practicing fear as an antic to coerce people, I think that's a huge red flag that all of us should pay attention to, even if it's in the guise of a spiritual healing. And it kind of sounds like that's a journey that you want to go on, not necessarily forcing people to come to you because you're telling them that if you don't, then like you're never gonna find enlightenment or whatever it is. It's like you're allowing them to come to you and find that journey. And I think that's something so big with just any person that's actually helping to heal.
Yeah. That was the first approach. Like when I open it to it, it's like I have to help everyone. Mm-hmm. Everyone needs to know what I discovered. No, that's not the way. They need to be ready. They need to. I mean, imagine yourself years back, right? You had a problem with substances, whatever, and if someone would tell you like, "Hey, now I got it. It's okay. Don't worry about it." That was the same thing, but it took me some time to realize, like, that's how it works. You don't push. You don't try to push the agenda on the others. Whatever it is. You need to get slower than that and kind of wait for them. Be ready for them. Give them the hand. Go with them a little bit, couple steps, and then you're gonna split again, and you're going somewhere else. That's how I see it, the journey.
So I guess kind of moving forward with, you spoke about the facility that you're wanting to open up and the practices that you've done. I guess, what are the next kind of steps? Like, where do you see your practices now and just your personal development and how that is going to shape, like, where you're moving towards? It's like we can't predict what's coming down the line, but just as far as your next steps, like your intentions towards like how you're moving in life, like, I guess, how has all of that culminating up until this moment, like?
Truth is, I don't know. I just got to the point where I recently lost all my money again, as I mentioned, from the crypto. My personal ideas where I'm gonna go. I came to States 2000 with $200 in my pocket. Didn't speak English at all. My first language was Polish, actually. It was funny, in Chicago. And I started working and building some portfolio. And 2008, it crashed as a housing market crashed, and I lost everything. So I started all again with my only truck. I made it back. Then I kind of crashed again with again the substances, and I didn't listen. It's an interesting story. I might share. I was smuggling weed many years out of California and then Colorado back to Chicago, and I got a message from ayahuasca 6 months ago. Stop doing it because you're gonna get caught. And I didn't listen. It was probably three ceremonies. I believe you can really see future or feel future as there is no time. And I got caught on my last hole. So, and I was almost, okay, this is my last thing, and I'm done with that. And on the way back, I just got stopped by cop, and I got arrested. And all the money from it, what I built a couple of years, everything just went back to lawyers and things like that. So it's not, for me, it's not first time to lose and start all over. Maybe that's the journey here, and kind of like continue on my personal growth. I don't think it's ever done. I think it's gonna be forever continuing whatever is there up there, and I don't think we should be lazy about it. Like, okay, I'm done with that, and I don't have to do much. Which that was my thought last 2 years when I got some money out of the crypto and some wealth, and it was like I don't have to work anymore and to be worried about financial aspects. And at that moment it crashed, obviously, right? So okay, you have to start again. There's like no stopping, you know, no pulse. You have to continue the journey. So that's my, I think that's my kind of ideas, what I'm gonna be doing now, continuing. But like I said, my intention, the biggest one, is really be here for people, build something for them to enjoy, to get some knowledge out of it, which would be probably the place, or with these tanks and other things in it. Yeah, that's what I see it.
That's awesome, and I like how you kind of hinted on just like how it seems to be like there's always this crash that happens, or that seems to be the start of something new.
Yeah.
And I guess you see that. I guess are you seeing this as more like a hopeful, as more like, are you seeing like it being more hopeful now that you're seeing like maybe this is a pattern or something?
It's quite interesting because to get over whatever's happening in your life, and necessarily doesn't have to be financial loss. It might be divorce. It might be lose of your siblings, your kid, your whatever. I notice I'm getting very faster over it. You know, it took me 2 years back in 2008 when I lost my house to realize that wasn't coincidence what happened, you know, with all the scams on the market and things. And I was working on the house like 3 years hard, you know, to put it together. Then I sold it with profit and reinvested into something else, and then it crashed. So the grief was longer than now when I lost even more, and or lost. Maybe it's not even lost. Maybe it's really the lesson, kind of you paying high price for the knowledge, getting out of that what happening to you. But I notice I'm getting faster over it, and it's like, okay, whatever. This is just one part of things, and I'm gonna. For many people, probably it can be devastating. I understand that, you know, they're gonna fall into drugs, or they're gonna end up somewhere on the street, which when we can see right now, all of our states, you know, all these cities, many thousand people on the streets can't get out of it anymore, you know, or at all, you know, falling in the drug trap, alcohol. It's problem, you know. I see it even as a truck driver many years, traveling whole country constantly, you know, from East Coast to West Coast, and I see the change, the difference, you know, between cities. So, but for me, it's like I can't fall back into that, you know, and just excuse yourself. Oh, I'm gonna buy something and it's gonna be better. No, it's okay. I'm thankful for the experience, but I'm gonna make it back or differently next time, you know. So that's why I'm here, I guess, on the island. So even the crash of the van, maybe 2 days, okay, it happened, you know, I have to buy a different car, rebuild it, make it nicer. It's fascinating. I see it right now. I'm a long year attendant to Burning Man Festival, and one of the stages, Art Car, famous Mexican group, Mayan Warrior, one of the nicest, I would say, sound system, you know, kind of like going through desert and playing music. It just burned down a couple days back, or a couple weeks, on the way somewhere in Mexico. And there was other teams, they got loose equipment, or someone stole it or so. But you can see they posting it, and they're gonna rebuild. They're gonna put it, you know, they're gonna build it again, better, bigger. It's a famous quote of Trump, right? But it's true, actually. We have to. We cannot stay in a debris and cry like, okay, what are we gonna be doing? You know, just take it as a lesson and continue on a journey, because there's nothing else to do. You have to.
Yeah. I think that's something like actually really big point. You know, I think that our mindset going into devastation or situations is so paramount to how we come out of it. You know, there are so many times where I've been in financial situations where it wasn't really the best, or just personal situations that didn't seem the best, and I can see how they're handled differently. Just this journey, I recently, within this past year, since actually about October, there was doctors found cancer in the body, and it was a big situation, but it didn't impact me as much. You know, I still felt very happy. I was still doing the podcast. I was still enjoying my life, and I actually found out like a few days before my birthday, and it was still the best birthday that I've had. And I did some more tests, and it wasn't until January that I got to see an oncologist. And by that time, like, there was a huge swollen lymph node under my arm. So they were saying that essentially it was stage 4 cancer that it had spread. They were suggesting all this chemo and radiation, and it was something I knew I didn't want to do. I was like, I'm going to do whatever holistic things, like wellness things I can do for myself. But based on what they were saying and based on how fast they were seeing it was spreading, it was like, the only thing I wanted to do was see like family and friends and kind of let them know what was happening, and then travel, because, you know, my intention is to travel and see the world. And that's just all I kept focusing on. You know, I kept focusing on my happiness, like right now, because, you know, I could worry about cancer, but I can get hit by a bus, you know, the same day. So it's the bus that takes me out, not the cancer. So it's just like there was that mindset that I kind of kept holding on to. And as I did more tests and more studies, it was a week before I was actually taking my trip to go see family and friends. So I had planned this out already to basically say goodbye to my family and friends and then just start traveling and stuff until whatever happened. It was like 3 days before this happened, I got a call from my doctor saying that the recent scans showed that the lymph node was actually just an infection. So it wasn't actually cancerous. And then the rest of the scan of the body, they couldn't find the cancer that was originally found. So there was no cancer present. So it was this huge situation that I know that had I been in that depression that I was in years before, if I had been in that same place when I was told that news, I probably would have gone back to using, like, drinking alcohol and substances, and like my mindset wasn't there yet. Mm-hmm. And even though there was still that 2012 experience that made me realize like there was so much more, it doesn't matter, like, you know, that was in the back of my mind. It wasn't in the front of my mind. It was all the worries and all the fears that was in the front of my mind. So just recognizing where I was and where I am now, and how a situation like cancer that knocks people down so much, it didn't really seem to knock me down. And I know that that's attributed to my mindset, my beliefs, like the choice that I made for living the life that I want to. And it's a life of happiness. I want to live a happy life. I think we all want to. And I think that there's a huge fear of stepping towards that. But when we do, there's so much freedom. It's like a weight is lifted. And I'm sure you've experienced this on your journey of like letting go of things and realizing, wow, I've been carrying that weight all this time and I didn't even realize it. Yeah. But it feels good to be more free. It feels good to let go of it and really move more into my own. And I think that that's something so incredible. So as you speak about your journey and how this crash keeps happening, but you're realizing that now you're like, it's passing faster. It's not affecting you as much. I think that, you know, just our journey and the beliefs that we've accumulated throughout our journey has helped to carry us through hardships in even greater ways, you know?
Yeah. I had similar experience with a friend of mine with what you mentioned about the cancer years back. I was living with him. His girlfriend left back to Europe, and I did notice a couple days, and suddenly he was thinner. He lost a lot of weight. Went for the scan. They told him, yeah, you got cancer too, somewhere here and couple places on the body. So he just left. I packed his thing to container, ship it to Europe. And he went to surgery in Europe. They took one of the ribs that was most affected. And it was a very similar story, like you said. And they did the tests on it there. And they told me that it's nothing, it's infection only, you know, and all the places around the body. Later on, I understood he was very, very stressed at the time when she left, and all the changes. He needs to leave the country after 20 plus years, and he just developed themselves the infection actually, because the body, and that's back what we're talking about, you know, you have to watch yourself, what you're doing, and it's always you actually. You're not gonna get cancer from neighbor or on tree somewhere. Right. It's something inside your mind or you know, around you. I'm glad you're okay, brother, for sure. Yeah, that you've been probably scared, and that's again kind of reminds me, these doctors, like, what do they know actually when they're telling you that, and you don't have that what they saying you do, and now it's changing your life. maybe again it's for a reason. Okay, I have to change a couple things. Maybe there's a message behind that. If even if someone's not right or he doesn't know, whatever, I'm not gonna be hateful towards him. I'm gonna move on and do things differently now, which you probably doing already. So
yeah. Blessed. I mean, it was a journey, but I realized like one of those weights that we carry is death. Dying. It's like even though I don't believe that there is an ending to life, like the body may be laid down, but there's a continuation. I was always like very aware of that throughout this process, but there's still like the protection of the physical body, the wanting to continue in this physical life that we hold on to, and maybe we don't even realize that we hold on to it. And being able to confront that, I think that was something so paramount to my journey. And even like if I can do it all over again, I would do it exactly the same way, because it's helped me to confront things. It's helped me to come across things, and I believe that like all of our hardships and all of our situations can not only help our steps forward, but it also can help other people that may be dealing with something where they feel like they're backed into a corner. But there's always a choice. There's always a door there that they can take. But sometimes that door seems like it's shut and can't be opened. But it's our choice to turn the knob and, like really do that work. Because at a certain point, it's like we realize that it's not that it's challenging, but it's like it's also it's a choice that we can make. It's an easy choice that we can make, but it's a hard journey to make it. I'm not really sure if that makes sense, but there are a lot of times I speak about the choice towards focusing on something more pleasant for you, like focusing on something that feels good. It seems like that's something really easy to do, and it's something that we want to do, but a lot of times it can be hard because of all the other things that we're dealing with. So
it's very hard. I've been programmed all my childhood the opposite. Not to enjoy not yourself, just see things like wrongly, badly, I was hating myself, that's why I was damaging myself with drugs, alcohol, and the realizations like that shouldn't be like that. It took me many years, but on the end, just the dropping the baggage, the programming, it's like, wow, how come I couldn't see that before, like, well, what was the blocks, installed in my brain? Why, and all the processes, and on the end, just to be happy every morning and blessed. Like there was a small example from my country back in communism, and it was really that 40 years of period of time, like heavy. Everything was black, gray, no colors. People weren't happy. You met someone in the street and you were asking him like, so how you doing? And the answer was like, don't even ask, and it was really inside of you. It was like, I'm feeling so bad. I don't even know, like it's so bad, I'm not happy and I don't even know about it. So change that perspective. Like, what do you want more? Like, look at around, everything's green. I'm not saying everywhere, right now. Blue sky, you breathing, you got a roof on your head, you're healthy. Not many people can say that actually, but many people is in that mental level. It's like, yeah, it's so bad, like I don't know. We need to get out of it, like all of us together and change that perspective. But because this is the control mechanism, right? All over us. It's like, no, you cannot do much. You are not nothing. You have to listen what we're gonna tell you. You don't have any power, which is completely untrue. So I'm glad to be on that journey for sure. To explore that. Sometimes I'm even joking about it. Like, why I choose that, why I signed these contracts there, like why I came to this realization, to planet Earth, why I couldn't be like famous singer or hockey player. But on the end, like they got their problems too, for sure.
Yeah.
And imagine they don't know about things you do now. They just kind of flew through the life. Yeah, with maybe fame, with some money, with girls around, or opposite, but maybe they don't know the feelings, they don't know the connection, they cannot realize that, they are not, and they won't see it this lifetime, it's gonna be for them. So on the other side, it's, you have to hit the rock bottom first to flow back and kind of see the bottom, before it's not gonna happen for you. So yeah, we need to really experience hard times sometimes, hard things, to be grateful for the small things. Then after, just as you saying, I'm glad I'm breathing in the morning. I just woke up and it's okay. I'm glad to be here. It's not for everyone. It can happen. Like one day it's not gonna happen. Actually, there was a famous picture on my friend took it at the Burning Man. And I saw it last year in a Burning Man magazine. It was about art, even small art is good. And there's a picture with the sign, "You might die tomorrow." There's a girl sitting with without the shoes. My friend even told me how he took the picture. They use it, and maybe 2 days after, at some stage or party in the desert that night, it really hit me, and I was crying, like the realization, like you might die tomorrow actually, and we not thinking about it. We think we're gonna be here forever. We it's not there. But when you realize that, like, okay, well, what it means for me, I have to change many things actually, because it might really happen tomorrow. I don't have that much time, left. It's so fast. So right now I'm just saying all my friends, like, hey, just think about it. It's really, it can help you to change things in your life, in your personal space, whatever you're afraid of to try or change. If something's blocking you, just think about that picture, just for a moment, and maybe it's gonna help you, maybe not, but that was the message. It was very, very strong message for me.
I think that, just as I hear it, it's like you can go in two directions when you see that. It's like you can either go in the direction of being super fearful and like even retracting more, or you can live more in the moment and say, you know what, like tomorrow isn't guaranteed, and today maybe I should ask that person out. Maybe I should, do that journey. Maybe I should try to start that business. And even if I do die tomorrow, then I know that I'm leaving this world, or I'm leaving knowing that I at least tried. I at least went for something. I at least like jumped and took that leap of faith, and wherever it lands me, like I know that like at least I tried, because we never know until we try.
Yeah.
And I remember that was something when I was younger. I was like wanting to ask someone out, and my mom told me, she said, the worst answer you can get is no. So it's like, what, like, it's like, what does no mean to you? Like, is no going to crush you? Is no going to be something that hurts you so bad that it makes you regret going out and saying it in the first place? And something that can be hard. Like, some people are vulnerable and they take a leap, and then it's not how they panned out, and they retract and they kind of go back on it. But I think at the end of the day, most often when we continually move forward towards the joy that we want to feel, the things that inspire us, when we live for today, when we live in the moment, then more joy comes to us, more fulfillment, more strength, more understanding of ourselves and where we're going in this life. It becomes more clear.
Yeah, I can confirm rejection. That was my thing. And I was rejected by my father right away, which I didn't know at the time. And it was continuing with me all my life. So asking girl to go out, that was problem for me, because the no was so scared for me. So I stopped, I wasn't doing it, many years. I'm still getting ghosted lately, even over here, but that's already fun for me, because I see, okay, this is not the right person,
Right.
And it's totally fine. You are somewhere at your level, and whatever, I'm not gonna be like pushing you if you don't want to, if you don't see who I am in real, so you can stay, that's okay. But yeah, that's one of the aspects, like the fear, kind of the blockage, like, should I do this or that, or maybe not, or should I just stay here, or what's gonna happen? It's like, no, you have to do something. you cannot stay in that limbo, or how you want to call it. I'm gonna share very interesting experience from DMT trips, which I was using, and it was twice it happened to me, and I got into some room, big space, kind of looked like a Chernobyl control room before it got blasted. Like vast space with nothing over the reactor, with some knobs and panels, and there was a very complicated geometric pattern or a thing, kind of like machine, and it was slowly moving like our clock, slowly, like clicking. I didn't hear any voice, and I was asking, what is it I'm looking at, what that thing is, and the voice in form of vibrations told me, this is how you're perceiving the time as a person, or as a soul in a body on this realm. At that moment it stopped, and I felt that everything around me is not moving, but it's there. I'm still me as a soul. I was still feeling alive inside that thing, but I knew, I felt like the time is illusion over here. It's really not what it is, or it's not at all. And when I realized that, and I had that experience on my body, I felt it just started moving, and I got kicked out of that experience, and I woke up in my bed in my room with the pen. It happened to me twice, actually, that room. It was very interesting to understand that concept and feel it actually on your body, that transition, like now it's the time and now it's not, you're there somehow, probably forever. We coming from there, or we're gonna go back there again. But it was a interesting experience. Twice I had that. Not many people can. I was trying reading reports if someone like was there and what the machine or whatever the geometric shape was, but I didn't find it anywhere. So I don't know.
I think that's something. There are people who will take different mind altering substances, and sometimes there will be like commonalities between them, but a lot of times, from my understanding, it's like we'll receive it in the way that we can best interpret it. Yeah. So it's like based on our own perspective. So it's like whatever your mind's picked up throughout your life, it's like those are the images that are going to be shown to you, and it's going to mean something meaningful for you, where it's like you can say it to anyone and everyone, and maybe there are hints of it that people pick up on, but they don't get the full immersive experience of it. And that's something I love about this journey, is just like these unique experiences that we have, yet we can realize that it's bringing us to this state of commonality, the state of like oneness and realization of greater things, I suppose. So that's really great. And you said that experience that was on, was it the 5-MeO?
No, just the DMT, the clean DMT.
Okay.
That one. 5-MeO DMT works a little bit differently. It's not that visionary. You don't have that much visions. You kind of mostly going to die through that experience and get reborn. It's scary a little bit. There's many clips on YouTube, like how people reacting to it. But for me, it was a really profound experience too. So yeah, but you shouldn't do it yourself, of course. You should have someone around you.
For sure thing.
Yeah, for sure, with that substance. DMT, I was always playing with that. It didn't have any problem with that. But with that one, it's stronger, and it could be, it could damage you a little bit. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm very thankful for you being here and sharing this experience with me, and just your experiences in life. And I know that there are other people that may want to know more information. So how can people find you if they want to get in contact? You have an Instagram, right?
I got an Instagram profile, Kambo for you. Not the digit, but just for you, Kambo for you. And yeah, they can reach me out there if they feel the need. I'm still settling down a little bit with the medicine, but I think I'm gonna be ready to share the medicine or the healing process within a couple of days, I believe. So I can offer my experiences or my presence for those who need it.
Perfect. Yeah. And I know there are, again, we're on this journey, and I think there are a lot of people that this may call to, you know, like that feeling that's just like an empty replace of saying like, this is something for me. I'm sure some people are probably feeling that as they heard you speak about it. So again, you can find Michael at Kambo for You. That's KAMBO FORYOU, and that's on Instagram. And yeah, he'll be open to maybe answering some questions for you. And yeah, thank you again for being here. Very thankful for your presence here and all the work that you do, and definitely looking forward to hearing more about the facility and the sensory deprivation. I've never done that before, but I've heard incredible things about it, and I'm very looking forward to it. So,
my pleasure to be here today.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, Michael, we'll talk to you soon. So yeah, that's all we have for today's episode. If you have any thoughts, ideas, or anything that you'd like to share, you can send that to everything.sunpodcast@gmail.com. You can join any of the social media groups: Instagram, everything.sunpodcast, Twitter, @everysunpodcast, the Facebook group, @everysunpodcast, and the YouTube page, Everything Under the Sun Podcast. And that's all I got. Love you all so much, and I'll talk to you soon.